What's up, guys? So as you may have seen today, the details of an upcoming balance patch for Street Fighter V were released. So I thought that I would go ahead and run through them kind of one by one and discuss what they mean for the game and kind of what my thoughts are. First, I thought I would give kind of an overview of just how I feel about it. Overall, I would say that I am pretty happy with the changes. As I said in a previous video, I didn't really like a lot of the changes they made for Season 2. But I feel like this is kind of them undoing a lot of that and, making the game better, which is what I said they needed to do. They need to focus on, really shoring up the game's faults, and I think they are doing that to a degree. So let's jump into some of the system changes. So the first thing they talked about in their patch notes was a bug that I didn't actually know existed with V-reversal, where if you V-reversal while you're crouching, it actually takes 1 frame longer to come out. Who even knew about this? But anyway, they fixed that, so that's obviously a good thing. So the next thing they talk about fixing is the up-back throw option select. So the way this works is you slightly delay an up-back plus throw when you wake up. And what this gets you is, if they hit you, you block. If they throw you, you throw tech. And if they kind of don't do anything that hits you, you just jump back with a light kick, which is generally pretty safe. So, in high-level play, this was super common, so I think it's probably for the best that they removed this, but something that I actually saw Banana Ken posting about on Twitter, I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a really good player, was that his worry is that either, there might be other option selects waiting that, might serve the same effect that Capcom hasn't really thought about. So we'll see if this is actually gone for good, or if there's just another option select that ends up taking its place. The third change is that they're increasing the input window for charge moves from 6 frames to 10 frames. So I know that you probably don't know what that means. It's kind of a confusing way of putting it, but one thing, this is not the amount of time you have to hold back to get a charge move. That's not changing. I think it's like 30 frames or something. You have to hold back for like 30 frames to get a charge move. But what is changing is, so if I turn on input display, what is changing is the amount of frames between when I let go of back and when I press forward and punch that I'll get the charge move. So this used to be pretty high, I think like 12 frames, meaning you could let go of back for up to 12 frames and then press forward and punch and still get a sonic boom. But right now it's 6, I believe, which is really low. So this doesn't seem like a huge deal, but it just kind of makes charge moves a little bit tougher to do. The smaller this window is, the harder it is to do charge moves. And it makes some stuff that was possible in previous games and in Season 1 a little bit harder. Stuff like doing a standing move into a charge down to up move. This is technically possible, but it's extremely difficult in this build. I don't know if I can even do it. But with a bigger window, with a 10 frame window, that should be a little bit easier. Oh, there we go. So standing jab into flash kick and combos like that, I know Urien has a lot of those. Those should be a lot easier. So I think this is a pretty good change too. I'm okay with this. It should be a nice quality of life improvement. And the last overall system change is a big overhaul of Shoryukens. So you might remember that originally, a lot of characters had Shoryuken moves, or Dragon Punches, or whatever you want to call them, that were invincible on startup. Which means that, if you're doing it when you're waking up, you're going to beat any attack the opponent does to you. And then in the Season 2 patch, they removed that altogether. So at this point, in the build that I'm playing, every one of Ryu's Dragon Punches, except for EX, which still has invincibility, but all the meterless ones have no invincibility and will get beaten by meaty attacks. So they're doing something different. They're not just straight up reverting this change. Instead, I believe they're leaving light punch DPs alone. Medium punch DPs are getting airborne invincibility, which means airborne attacks will always get beaten by medium DPs. So these will be good anti-airs. And then heavy punch DPs, they're giving invincibility starting on the 3rd frame. So that means they'll still lose to meaties, but basically in any situation where a wake-up jab would land, a wake-up DP is going to land too. So it's not completely a get-out-of-jail-free card, but it will be a better option than it is right now when they don't have invincibility whatsoever. So I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. In principle, I still do think that invincible dragon punches are, they're a core part of Street Fighter, right? They've been in every Street Fighter game until now. And I do think that it's important that there's that check and balance in place for, offensive pressure and pressure when someone's getting up. But I do think that this is better than what it is in Season 2, where they're not invincible at all. So I get that this is kind of a compromise, but I would rather have the compromise than just have no invincibility on dragon punches. So I would say I'm okay with this. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I'll deal with it. I'm okay with it. Alright, so now I'm going to get into the character-specific changes. I'm going to touch on every single character. So if all you care about is the character you play, there's timestamps in the description. Go ahead and click those. But so let's start out with Akuma. So almost nothing is changing about Akuma. He's getting 25 extra HP, which is practically nothing. That's like less than a jab. And he's getting those Dragon Punch changes. So starting on frame 3, his Heavy Punch Dragon Punch is invincible, and then his Medium Dragon Punch is invincible to air moves. So that's pretty nice. I think Akuma is a well-balanced character in general. He didn't really need anything, so I'm glad they're not really messing with him too much. Alright, next up is Alex. I know I harped on Alex a lot, that, they nerfed him in Season 2 a little bit, which I didn't understand at all. He wasn't that great, but he's getting a lot better now. So he's getting, again, a very slight HP increase, not super relevant. He's getting improved startup on his standing medium punch, standing medium kick, crouching medium kick, and then a few frames faster on his V skill, so hopefully you can use that more in matches. So I think these should be really good for making his neutral game, a lot better. He should have an easier time poking, so that's great. And his light punch slash attack is being changed from -4 on block to -2 on block, so now you pretty much can't punish that with anything on block, which I think is great. Overall, I think he's going to be a lot better. I don't know if he'll be good enough that you see him making top 8s at majors, but he'll be a lot better, which is what he needed, so I'm happy with that. Alright, next up we have Birdie. His crouching medium kick is now going to be 1 frame faster on startup. It doesn't seem like a huge deal, but whatever, it helps. Crouching medium punch, they're increasing the hitbox on the part where his head is like up in the air, so it should be a more consistent anti-air now, which is great. His EX bullhead, they're changing from +2 to -2 to -5 on block. I don't really see the need for this. I don't feel like this move was too good, but I don't know. It should still be pretty hard to punish on block because, as you can see, it leaves you pretty far away. So I don't even know if most 5-frame moves are going to reach it, but whatever. And then his EX Bull Horn, which is his Dragon Punch move, is now armored on first frame. So this is a really big deal, actually. Previously, it didn't have armor till the 3rd frame, meaning that if you hit him when he's waking up, if you did a perfectly timed meaty, you would hit him out of anything. There's no move that he can do on wake up that'll beat a meaty, but now there is. Now he can armor through it, so that's pretty good. So I think this should help Birdie out a decent amount. Again, he's not a character that sees a ton of play. I do think he's pretty decent, so maybe this could kind of put him up into that upper mid tier where we might see him more in tournaments. Next up we got Cammy. So she got the same DP changes I talked about before, so that's great, and they're giving her an air throw. Currently she does not have an air throw, so that's pretty hype. I think air throws are awesome. A lot of people are kind of freaking out like, oh, why would they buff Cammy? She's already one of the best characters, and I do agree. I do think she's one of the best characters in the game, and she will continue to be, but I don't think these buffs are like outrageous. I think it fits in with what they're doing to everyone else. And air throws are cool, man. How can you hate on an air throw? So I think this is fine. So next up we have Dhalsim, who is getting a brand new move. They're giving him a new down forward plus medium kick. Lord knows what it's going to look like. I obviously can't show you because the patch is not out yet. But I guess the idea is right now he doesn't have any lows that are safe on block. All his lows are slides. I mean, the slides are safe if they're spaced, but you know what I mean. Or, Stand Fierce is low, and again, that's unsafe on block too. So this should give him something that he can use from close range and hit people low. So I think that's great. I'm glad they're giving people new moves. I think Dhalsim is overall not an amazing character, but this should help him out, and he's still cool, so I think he'll be played. Oh, FANG, another character who received some nerfs in Season 2 for reasons that I can't quite understand, but they are mostly undoing those. They're improving his neutral game a little bit with faster startup on some of his mid-range pokes, standing medium kick, crouching medium punch, standing hard punch, standing hard kick. They're reducing the pushback on the first hit of down forward hard punch. I don't really know what this change is about. I'm wondering if maybe, oh yeah, see, there's situations like that where the first hit can hit and the second hit can whiff. I guess they're trying to fix that. So in general, I'm glad that they're helping him out a little bit, but I don't think this is enough. It seems relatively minor overall. Seems like they're really scared of a top tier FANG. Like maybe they think that if FANG is too good, then the game's gonna suck because he's so annoying. But I think he's still gonna be trash after this, unfortunately. I don't think you're gonna be seeing any FANGs in top 8 of upcoming tournaments. Alright, next we got Guile, considered by many to be the best character in the game. He is getting some pretty substantive nerfs. So the recovery of his forward throw is being increased. I am assuming the reason for this is that so that you can no longer do this, where you can, meaty them on wake up, beat any of their wake up moves in the corner. Because, right now, like, doing throw loops with Guile in the corner is pretty common, so it seems like they want to get rid of that. They are nerfing his reverse spin kick, or the upside down kick, as I've always called it. It used to be +6 on block, or on hit, is now +4 on hit, which means that you can no longer land crouching medium punch after. This doesn't seem like a major nerf. I mean, you can still land jab after, but I don't really understand why they would nerf this move anyway. It's a sick move. It's not like it's, super overpowered. You don't see it a ton. But anyway, whatever. And then another really big nerf is they're increasing his V-trigger gauge to 3 meters. This is huge. So it's going to take a lot longer to get V-trigger, which is always a bummer. But to make up for it, they are making his V-trigger fireballs use up less of the timer. So in exchange for building up more V-trigger meter, you get to throw more V-trigger fireballs. But this is going to be pretty brutal. I definitely think Guile will still be good, but will he be top 3 like he probably is right now? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, he seems like he'll still be really good. And then we have Juri, who is barely changed. They're nerfing the anti-air hitbox on her standing jab, which it seems like they're pretty much doing across the board to anyone with a really good anti-air jab. It seems like they want these characters to use dragon punches for anti-air, which segues nicely into the fact that they are giving her the same dragon punch changes as the other Shotos. So this is interesting to me. Did she have invincibility on her dragon punches in Season 1? Someone will have to let me know in the comments, because I don't actually know. If she didn't, that seems like a pretty great buff, actually. So, her medium dragon punch is invincible to air moves, so it's going to be a great anti-air. And her heavy dragon punch is invincible to all attacks starting on frame 3. So, yeah, again, like everyone else, that is a pretty good thing that she has. That'll make her a lot better. I don't think she was a bad character by any means. I think she's somewhere around the middle of the pack, but this should help her out. Maybe we'll start seeing more of her. Alright, next up we have Ken, who is also barely changed. Same DP change as everyone else, you know the drill. And then they nerfed his forward hard kick overhead. I really don't get this. I mean, I kind of get it. It used to be -2 on block, now it's going to be -4, which is pretty much in line with the rest of the command overheads in the game, like Ryu and Guile. But I just don't understand why these need to be punishable on block. In no other Street Fighter game are normal overheads that you can't combo off of punishable on block. So I don't see why this is the case, but whatever. It's a pretty minor change, probably not going to change too much. Ken will still be good. And Laura. Everyone has been calling for nerfs for Laura, but she didn't get hit too badly. She got some extremely slight frame data changes, so like her quarter circle forward light punch now only has 3 active frames instead of 4. Doesn't seem like a huge deal. Crouching light kick used to be +1 on block, now it's going to be +0. Not a big deal at all, and I'm actually glad that they didn't change too much about Laura. She is definitely a great character, but I don't think she's like, top 3. We haven't seen her blowing up tournaments really. And I think that the changes to dragon punches are going to be an indirect nerf to her. So I'm happy they didn't go overboard and just bury her. So I still think she'll be good after this patch. Maybe not quite as good, but still very good. Next up, we got Nash, who ate the Nerf bat big time in Season 2. It seems like everyone who was playing Nash dropped him, but maybe this will remedy the situation a little bit. He did get some buffs. So forward dash is being reduced by 1 frame faster, so that's kind of nice. Standing heavy punch, they are expanding the forward and down hitbox, and then they are reducing the up hitbox, because I guess they don't want it to be an anti-air. I don't really understand like what this change is meant to accomplish, but there must be something they have in mind for doing that. Crouching medium kick canceled into V trigger, formerly +4, now +5. Also, this one, I don't really know what difference this makes, but maybe you guys can illuminate me in the comments. His medium kick Sonic Scythe is getting increased pushback, which means that it should be less punishable on block. Because right now, from a lot of ranges, if they block it, they'll be able to punish you afterwards. So this should hopefully increase the ranges where it's safe on block, make that move a little bit more usable in footsies. EX Sonic Scythe is getting throw invincibility, and they're expanding the upward hitbox, presumably to make it a better anti-air. I think this is great. I think that's a great change. This move will be a little bit more useful as a getting out of pressure tool for Nash. Mostly, I think he's fine. I don't think he's a terrible character right now. He's just not amazing, but this should help him out a little bit, and maybe we'll start to see some Nash players again. Alright, next up we got Necalli. He was barely changed. His only in V trigger, his charge back forward light punch move is changing from -4 to -6. The reason for this being that this move can be really hard to punish for some characters, being only -4. So they're making it a little bit more punishable. It's a nice quality of life thing when you're fighting Necalli, so I'm cool with that. It's important to note he is not getting the Dragon Punch changes. His Dragon Punches are remaining not invincible. So that's kind of a big deal. I mean, I guess I get it. Capcom doesn't want him to be too strong. He's an extremely strong character even without it. So I'm kind of okay with him not getting it, but I don't know. I almost feel like if they're giving everyone else some invincibility on their Dragon Punches, why not give it to him? But whatever. I think he'll be great. He's a really strong character, and I don't think that's going to change. Alright, Ryu, formerly my main, not so much these days. In Season 1, generally considered one of the best, if not the best character, kind of up there with Chun-Li. He ate a lot of nerfs in Season 2, not so great these days, but they're walking some of that back. So standing light kick, they really got rid of the hitbox in Season 2. I mean, this is crazy. This move sucks right now, but they are bringing back that old hitbox, making this hit from further ranges, so that's great. Standing medium punch, they are slightly increasing the hitbox forward. Again, this move is just so stubby. Ryu really sucks at this range right now. So they're giving him that too. So hopefully at the mid-range, he should be a little bit better after this. He's getting the DP changes. Obviously, one weird thing, they said they are changing the animation of crouching hard punch. I have no clue what this means. So we'll have to wait and see on that. I don't know if that's a buff or a nerf, or it doesn't make any difference at all. Overall, I'd say I'm fairly happy. I kind of think that Season 1 Ryu was fine. I mean, he was one of the best characters, but, you know, I've been saying a lot. My philosophy is that they should be, you know, using that as kind of their guide of how good a character should be. Bring everyone else up to Ryu's level. Don't knock him down, but whatever. They're improving him a little bit, so that's fine. I don't think he's going to be amazing, but he should be pretty good. Urien, the other character that has everybody saying, Capcom, please nerf, and Capcom is saying, okay, we will. They are nerfing the crap out of this guy, so they're slightly reducing his health. That's not really a big deal, like 25 points, that doesn't matter too much. They are really nerfing his crouching medium kick. Currently, it is +2 on block, which I'll admit is a little bit crazy, but they are making it -2 on block, an overall nerf of 4 frames. Just to put that in perspective, like, almost never is a move given 4 extra frames of recovery and it's still like a usable move. So this is it overpowered currently? I mean, maybe. It's really strong, but did it need to be nerfed this much? I don't know. That's pretty crazy to me. EX headbutt, they are increasing the number of frames when it whiffs. Currently it only is 15 frames. They're making it a whopping 25. I'm actually pretty happy with this change. You know, because EX Headbutt is like his ultimate, like, alright, I'm gonna bet it all, get off me move. And if you guess right and he whiffs it, you should be rewarded. You should get a combo. And right now it's kind of hard to do that because the recovery is pretty short. So I'm happy with that change. It's making it more punishable, and it's making you, get rewarded when you guess right and avoid the EX headbutt. The other big nerf, EX tackle, is going from 0 on block to -2 on block. This one I'm also kind of fine with. It being 0 on block is a little bit nuts. It kind of reminds me of Yun's EX dash punch in Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, which I believe also went from being 0 or maybe +1 to being -2. But anyway, this means that after you block this, it's your turn to start attacking. You're kind of guaranteed to be able to stick a move out after this, unless, he bets it all on the EX headbutt. So this is going to hurt his game a lot. I think he will be worse. But I don't think this is gonna ruin him. And something that I do like is that this is not really changing him as a character. He's still got what makes him cool, which is the Aegis is not getting changed. That's what makes him cool. His cool standing fierce chop with the crush counter, his crouch fierce, these aren't getting changed, and that's what really gives him his identity. So I'm glad that's not being touched. I still think he'll be an awesome character after this. Alright, and then we got Vega. Whoo boy, Vega players rejoice. I would say by far the most improved character in this upcoming patch is going to be Vega. So let's run through it. Standing heavy punch is going from +6 on hit to +7 on hit. That might open up some new links. There's less pushback on hit and on block, so that might facilitate combos. Crouching hard punch, oh, and this is with the claw on, by the way, is going from -2 on hit to +5 on hit, going from -5 on block to +3 on block. I almost couldn't believe this when I read it, but I was saying a second ago with Urien that, it's hard to make a move 4 frames slower and still have the move be usable. And they're making this move 7 frames faster. It kind of puts into perspective just how shitty this move is right now. It is not good, but they are buffing it a lot. His V trigger is becoming invulnerable after the first hit, so after the rose hits, he now can't be hit out of it. So that should prevent weird situations where you land the V trigger but you get hit anyway. So his wall dive with the claw on is getting a lot better. It's going from 90 damage to 120 damage. It's going from +0 on block to +3 on block, which is pretty great. That's actually kind of crazy. And they're saying something about increasing the follow-up options on hit. I don't really know what that means, but it sounds like he's going to get some new combos. Without Claw, the only change that's really happening is the damage is going from 60 to 80, but none of the other stuff. But holy moly, that is so many buffs, particularly for his Claw form, which, I don't think that Vega's, garbage. He's not like FANG, but he does feel a little bit limited. Definitely when you play him, I think you can kind of feel that, especially with the Claw on. He feels just kind of weak to play. So this should hopefully remedy that a lot. I mean, these are crazy. He's going to be a lot better, especially in Claw stance. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. And then we have Zangief. He's getting a mixture of buffs and nerfs, leaning a little bit more on the buff side. But they're reducing the amount of meter he builds when he headbutts a projectile from 50 to 30. I don't understand this at all. I'm going to be honest, I didn't actually know he gained meter when you headbutt a projectile. But now that I know that, that's so cool. And I don't get why they would take that away. I think that's kind of a neat mechanic. I mean, they're not taking it away, but they are reducing it by almost half. So I'm bummed about this. I think that should stay in, but whatever. Pretty minor. They're also nerfing his Lariat a decent amount. So the downward hitbox on Lariat is being reduced, which I guess is designed to stop it from kind of beating everything when you're this close. The second and third revolutions will no longer hit crouchers, so if the first one hits, they don't have to worry, or if the first one's blocked, they should get a free punish. So I think that's fine. If you block a Lariat, you should get a punish. And then the hurt box is expanded to match the size of the hitbox, which basically means that it's going to be more reasonable to hit him out of the Lariat. It's not going to kind of beat everything like it does now. But I don't know. I don't really think this move needed nerfed. If you remember Vanilla Street Fighter 4, now that was a crazy Lariat. That move beat everything. It was really hard to punish. I don't think it needs the nerf, but I'm not that upset about it because he is getting some good stuff. For example, he's getting a new throw. Now, if you neutral or forward throw a crouching opponent, it's now going to do the Horror Show Choke Slam. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I'm hoping it's cool. I'm thinking maybe it could leave you in cross-up range or something. How amazing would that be? So, you know, I can hope, right? He is getting back his neutral jump headbutt, which is done by pressing up and hard punch. He doesn't have it right now, but he had it in pretty much every other game, so I'm glad they're giving it back. And the thing about that move is that it does a ton of stun. It's like the highest stun move in the game. So, you know, it's like a neat little mechanic that only Zangief has, so I'm glad they're giving that back to him. And he's getting another new move that sounds super weird. Dragon Punch plus Punch is apparently going to do a counter move that, quote, only works against horizontally angled kick attacks. Which I have no clue what that means. Like, does it mean like Ryu crouching medium kick, like sweeps, that kind of thing? Does it mean like Guile Sonic Scythe? God only knows. And it might be like a mistranslation or something. Maybe when it actually comes out, it's going to be like, oh, I get it. But right now, that sounds really weird. But, I mean, I'm excited for new moves. I don't know if I mentioned, that's called Tundra Storm. So it's cool. I like that they're giving characters new moves. And they're actually doing kind of what I hoped they would do in terms of giving people new tools. That's what's interesting, right? It's not just interesting if like, oh, this move used to do 60 damage, now it does 70. It's interesting that you have new tools that are kind of going to change the way that you play. So I'm glad with that. Even if the Lariat nerfs aren't my favorite, I still think it's cool, and it's going to make him just a little bit better. So that's everyone that's receiving actual noticeable changes. There's a few characters who are basically just getting bug fixes or things that you're never actually going to notice. Like Balrog is getting like a minuscule hitbox adjustment. You're never going to notice. Chun-Li, they're making it so that it takes 5 kick inputs to do lightning legs instead of 4, but no one uses the mashing to do lightning legs anyway, so no one's going to notice that. Ibuki, they're changing something with how like the priority for inputting her special moves is. That doesn't matter. Karen is getting a couple bug fixes that, again, you're never going to notice. And Rashid is getting a nerf to his standing light kick because they're kind of normalizing across the board that they don't want light attacks to be really good anti-airs. And then that leaves 3 characters who are completely untouched, or at least they're not mentioned at all in the patch notes. And those are Colleen. Makes sense. She hasn't really been out long enough to know if she has anything that needs fixing. Bison getting untouched, which I think is fine. He's in a pretty good spot right now. He's not amazing, but he's somewhere around like upper mid. And Armika, who was changed a lot between seasons 1 and 2. Everyone thought she would kind of be garbage tier in season 2, but it turns out she's still quite good. Still doing very well in tournaments, so I think it's fine that she's not changed. But that's it, guys. Thank you for sticking through this whole video. I know it was quite long, but hopefully if there was stuff you wanted to know about the upcoming patch, I have clarified that for you. So thank you a million for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.